Hi, and welcome to Bloom Feather Studio. I'm Lene, and today we'll be painting this beautiful abstract butterfly and flower. And we'll be using 3 colors plus your own whatever choice of green you want to use. So I'm using permanent rose and neutral tint and lemon yellow. And these are all 3 Winsor and Newton professional colors, watercolors. And then for my brushes, I'm going to be using this dagger striper from Princeton, and then a really thin script liner brush, which is very old. But any small tipped brush will do for this project. Okay, the other thing I'll be using is a little bit of masking fluid. This is also Winsor Newton colorless art masking fluid. And you need, in order to use this, you need a brush you don't care about. And I usually dip that brush in soapy water, put some soap on it before I use it. Okay. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so I started out by just sketching a few lines, the shape of my butterfly, and then a little bit of the flower. And I'm going to go ahead and use my masking fluid, and I'm just going to put some dots of masking fluid on the edges with an old brush. So like this. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You can put them however you want. I'm going to do 2 lines here, kind of like how a monarch butterfly has several lines of white dots. The reason I like to use masking fluid when I'm doing an abstract is because it's really hard. The most challenging thing I find is to keep the white because of all the color and the splashing around. Sometimes it's really hard to keep the white in the butterfly. So I'm just going to do some other random dots. I'm going to take my brush and just tap it so that it gets some dots of color in both the flower area. I'm going to use another brush here and just tap it out. We can always get rid of these later, but it's hard to bring the light back in once it's gone. So, okay, now I have to let this dry completely. So that'll be a couple of minutes and then I'll come back. Okay, now that this is dry, it took me a little bit. Maybe you can see all the dots that I put on here, both in the flower and the butterfly. And so I'm just going to go ahead and take my brush. It doesn't really matter what brush you use, but for this one I'm going to use my dagger striper from Princeton. And I'm going to take some water and I'm just going to wet all of the butterfly. Let's just go ahead and wet it down. Taking care not to go outside of the lines that I've created. So I'm just going to focus on the wings right now. Okay, so it's pretty wet. I didn't really do this body part yet, although maybe I'll go ahead and do it. And I'll do it, and then I'll kind of pat it with a paper towel. Okay. Okay, so it's a little bit too wet right here, so I'm just gonna lightly tap it with my paper towel. Okay, now I'm going to take some of my permanent rose and put some right here at the start of the wings. and let it spread out a bit. Tip it up so it moves a bit. A little more water on it. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit more permanent rose here. Okay, and then I'm going to take some lemon yellow. I'm going to add some in. Rinse off my brush, move it around. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and mix some of my permanent rose with my neutral tint. I'm going to go ahead and add some here because I know I want this section here to be fairly dark, the darkest in the painting. So I'm going to go ahead, actually I'm going to just go ahead and paint this part. So it's neutral tint mixed with my permanent rose. Nice and dark, and then take care that your edges are exactly how you want them. Like that. Okay, and then I'm going to grab more permanent rose, having still some of the neutral tint on it. And I'm going to go to the back of the butterfly, or actually I'll go, let's see, I'll do this part right here. So I'm going to define the wings. Go up this side like this. And I'm going to take another brush and add a little color to the back of the butterfly. Or sorry, a little clear water to the back of the butterfly like this. Just because I want to define the back. I'm going to turn this to the side a little bit here. So it's nice and wet. And then I'm just going to take the brush like this, and I'm going to define the back of the butterfly using the tip of the brush. And wow, this black kind of went a little crazy. So I'm going to pull some of that out. So I'm coming up here with clear water. Oops. Pull some of this color out here. Okay. Put a little more pink in there. Just pale pink or permanent rose. So like that. Okay, now I'm gonna take my small brush here. So this is a very old brush. So it's kind of like a small like script liner or something. And I'm going to pull some of the color into lines like this to define the butterfly. So I'm going to grab some of the color, Just go around like that. And maybe down here, do another central line. This. Central like loop. Like that. And then usually there's one that kind of curves up here. Like that. And one that curves down here. So just kind of give that lacy look. Let's do one that kind of comes out this way. Ooh, that's way too dark. I'm gonna go ahead and put some lemon yellow with that line here. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and put some lines that come in like this. So actually I don't like this one so much. I'm gonna go ahead and try to pull this color out with a damp paper towel. Okay, that looks better. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and make some lines that come in this way. To give it a real delicate lacy look. Same down here. Okay, now I'm going to have to go back here because sometimes they disappear. Get some more color. Okay. Just going to go ahead and dab some of the black out down here too. Yeah. Okay. Now, now I'm going to go ahead and start on the flower. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to turn it because it's easier for me to work this way with my right hand. And I'm going to add some water to this. I'm going to take my brush and just kind of use the diagonal part of it to make like a scoop, like a C scoop for the flower. Like this. And so I'm coming out here like this. So you don't have to be really defined about it. Just add some water. If you like where the water sits, then you can go ahead and add some color. So I'm going to go ahead and get some of my pink and focus on the center. Tip it up. And just use the diagonal of the brush to make some petals. Okay, now I'll take some green, any green will do. And just add a little pink to your green so it's not too bright, especially if you're using Viridian or even hooker green, it can get a little bright. So I'm going to go ahead and just at the base of the flower, tap in a triangle of green, and then put my stem in there. Goes down from there. Okay, now I might go ahead and add some yellow in the middle here. And softly drag it around. A little bit more yellow, like that. Okay, now going back to the butterfly, I'm going to take just a bit at the tip of my brush right here of the black, and I'm going to put two of the antennas that come out of the butterfly. So I'm going to put one here and one up here. It's okay if it blends out a little bit. And then also I'm going to make some legs coming out here. So I'll go ahead and do one here and one there, just really undefined. Okay, now I'm going to let this dry completely. Actually, I'm looking at the flower. I'm going to blend this out a bit. I'm going for more of an abstract flower, nothing too defined. So I want to make sure some of the edges are loose and undefined, like lost and found edges. Okay, now I'm going to let this dry and then I'll come back. Okay, now the flower and the butterfly are mostly dry. I'm going to go ahead and add another layer to the flower. So I'm going to go ahead and put some water there and just add another layer of color. To give it like front and back flower petals. Okay. And put a little, I'm just going to put a couple dabs of the neutral tint, a little bit more green here. There we go. Maybe a little yellow too on the base of it. Tap in a little yellow. And then around the butterfly, I kind of want some color. So I'm going to go ahead and start with just some water, kind of just surrounding the butterfly a little bit. And once you're happy with the water and where it flows, maybe even a little bit at the back. And I'm going to just dab in a little bit of yellow, just to give it some brightness. Okay. Put a little yellow at the back as well. Okay. I'm going to define this right here. Yeah. Need that. Okay. Maybe a few lines coming up from the flower. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing where I'm going to let this dry. Okay, and then I'm going to rub off come back and rub off what I put on for the masking. Make sure it's all surrounded by color. So I'm just going to go ahead and let this dry. And actually, before I do though, I'm just going to tap in color on the edges of like the corners of the wings. Like this. So some dark color at the edges of the wings, the corners. Oops. And I see that I lost a little bit of the lines here, so I'm going to go ahead and define them a bit. Okay. I'm thinking, I think I need a little bit more definition to these lines that fan out at the top. Like that. But not too much. Okay. All right, so I'm going to let this dry, and then I will come back and remove. I'm just going to tap this so it kind of fades away a bit here, and just remove the masking fluid. Just playing with the edges a little bit. Okay, anything else? Maybe I will get some lemon yellow and spatter it in a little bit here. Just kind of between the flower and the butterfly. Put some yellow spots. Okay, I'm gonna stop there and then I'll come back when this is dry. Okay, once it's dry and you're happy with everything, you can go ahead and remove the masking fluid. So I'm just gonna use my finger and go around and rub it off. So one thing about masking fluid is that the lines it creates, or the marks it creates, are pretty harsh. So if you remove your masking fluid and you don't like how harsh they are, you can always blend them out. Sometimes I even add a little bit of yellow, depending on what I'm painting. So for this, I might go through and add a bit of yellow to some of the dots, just to add a little bit more glow, to get rid of the harshness in the lines. So I'm going to go ahead and dump this out, all the masking fluid out, and then look at it and see if I need to add anything. Okay, so now I'm just going to go through and just blend out a little bit of the marks left by the masking fluid. And I'm going to take a little bit of yellow and add them here and there to some of the dots, just to give it a bit of a glow, especially where there's already yellow surrounding it. I think that makes it really pretty. Okay, and then even down here, just kind of soften these up a bit. It's okay if some of the black gets into the mix. Kind of like it like that. I really like how the flower turned out. I'm probably not going to do anything with that at all. Just leave it as it is. And that's it. Maybe add a little pink here. Oops, that's too much pink. And there you have it. You can use this for a card or a print if you want, or something to hang on the wall. Beautiful abstract butterfly and flower. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.